Hey guys, this is Shintai from the Anime Room, and recently Bob Samurai got tagged, and at the end of his video, instead of tagging specific people, he'd said that he wants everyone who watched the video to go ahead and respond if they want to, and not just, a specific person. And I haven't been tagged yet, so I thought, you know what, why not? These questions that he asked are kind of interesting. What he did was, instead of asking the same questions that he got tagged with, because I guess he's doing it differently, he decided, I'll make up some new questions and I'd like people to answer his new questions. So, you know what, that sounds pretty cool. Let's check out these questions. First question is, how has anime and manga affected your life? That's a pretty interesting question. I have to say that, first of all, you gotta go back to how I first got into it. When I was younger, I used to watch Gundam Wing and Dragon Ball Z, and those were like the main animes that they used to put on Toonami, and those were my favorites, especially Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing is still one of my favorite animes, and I think it's a great show and it still holds up. After that, I was kind of like, that's for, it's for kids, that's just cartoons for a while after that. But then I watched Cowboy Bebop, and that completely changed my perception. I was like, wow, this was an awesome show. I couldn't even believe how awesome it was. And that's what got me into anime. That's what really got me into anime. So after that, I started renting movies at Blockbuster and stuff to check out more anime. I was like, I gotta watch more of this. This is amazing. But how it has actually affected my life, well, it's taken up a lot more of my time, that's for sure. I definitely spend a lot more of my time doing other things that I guess I would have normally not done. But as far as changing me as a person, I would say that anime has had some effect. I would say that most things that we experience change us in some way, whether it be significant or insignificant. And I think it's hard to pinpoint what changes it's had, because I feel that it's very difficult for people to objectively examine themselves. So I'm not going to even try. I think it's kind of futile. But the only thing I can say for sure is anime has changed my taste. I would say that watching animes has definitely helped me to understand, okay, I really like this sort of thing, and I don't like these kinds of things. And I think because of that, it's helped me to kind of narrow down the list of things that I would like. It's like, okay, that looks interesting, I'll check that out. And I think, animes have a part in that. The next question is, which anime or manga character has positively inspired you the most? I'm gonna have to say Guts from Berserk, because with Guts, if you look at it on the surface, he seems like a brute, a very one-dimensional character, and that is completely wrong. He is a very deep and complex character. He may just seem to be some brute, and I'm not trying to say he's really intelligent or anything, but there's definitely a lot of depth to his character. And the reason I say he's positively impacted me is because he isn't perfect. He's a flawed person, and despite his flaws, he is a very inspirational person, I would say. The things that he accomplishes due to his own power is phenomenal. Now granted, obviously he's not a real person, so the writer can make him do things that are, not what normal people could do most of the time, but he is still human, and he is able to do things and fight against demons, and it's really inspirational to see that human spirit basically come through. It makes me want to do better. Seeing Guts try as hard as he can makes me want to try harder too. And he has good reasons for doing the things that he does. It never really feels like anything he does is pointless. It always feels like he always has a goal in mind, and his goals are justified. And, he's a character I respect a lot. Next question is, which anime or manga character do you relate to the most? This is a difficult question. I think I'm going to have to go with Yamazaki from Welcome to the NHK. That isn't to say that I'm exactly like him or anything like that, because that's just not true. But I would say there are really aspects about him that I feel that I can relate to. People judge you on, preconceived notions, and that's where that's unfair. But at the same time, I also feel that I'm flawed, and I also feel that he's flawed in kind of the same ways, both socially and mentally. But he does do things that I would never do, and he takes things a little further than I think I would ever do. But there are aspects of him where I feel that's kind of mirrored. Next question is, who is your favorite anime / manga villain? I'm going to have to go with Char Aznable, because he is a very, very interesting character. He has had basically 2 whole anime series and a movie where you get to see him grow and develop, and he's not always a villain, but for the majority of the time he is, and it's actually interesting when he isn't a villain to see how he acts. And he has one of the best rivalries with Amuro Ray, and it's epic. Is easily one of my most favorite rivalries of all time. Their rivalry spans over so many years, and their epic climactic finish to their rivalry is just great. I think Char is just an excellent villain. And the reason I say that he is because he's not necessarily a bad person. He doesn't do things simply because ooh, I'm evil. He does it out of ideology. And in fact, in the final movie, Char's Counterattack, he's constantly having debates and arguments with Amuro, and you never get the feeling like it's just, oh, they're just sputtering nonsense. It actually feels like the two of them actually know what they're talking about, and they feel passionate about what they're talking about, and their arguments feel real because of it. So yeah, Char is just a great villain in my eyes. Next question is, what's my favorite type of anime / manga? I'm guessing the genre? I think that's difficult to say, because I like lots of different kinds. I like slice of life, I like action, I like fantasy, I like sci-fi, I like all different kinds. I don't really gravitate towards a specific kind of genre. All I really care about is if something is well done or not. But if I had to get pinned down and it's you gotta pick something specific, I guess I would go with something that's action oriented, but also very story driven. The setting doesn't really matter too much, although the setting can really add to the experience, of course. But yes, something action oriented is usually my favorite. I like watching cool fight scenes. Fight scenes are really enjoyable to watch, especially if you really care about the characters. You don't always have to have something that's really story driven in order to enjoy it. Sometimes you can just see something, mindless and fun, and it's just pretty to look at, and that's fine. If that's what you're in the mood for. But it's much more rewarding to watch something that actually has a story and actually has merit, and the action sequences are very well complemented by the story because you actually are emotionally invested in what's going on. I mean, yeah, sure, it's cool to see some fight scenes in something like Ninja Scroll or Karas, and the fight scenes are, really cool and really nice. But you don't really care about what's going on. As much as I love Ninja Scroll, it's not really something where I'm like, ooh, the characters are really great. I really love what's the story, it's so deep. It's none of that. But, it's nice to see something with action, it's cool to just turn your brain off and just be like, yeah, that's pretty cool, So yeah, I guess action would be the best. Next question is, which anime / manga would you like to see remade? Easiest question in the world, Fist of the North Star. We need to see this remade with new animation. It would be amazing. It could be completely faithful to the manga, and it would be so awe-inspiringly awesome. Now, the old series is fine for what it is and for when it came out, but I would love to see it redone with better animation, better art, and it could just be so amazing. It could, oh man, just thinking about it, because they had to kind of censor it back in the day. The blood would be white and stuff, it looked like milk, and it would be cool if they could remake it and they didn't need to do that kind of censorship. That'd just be so epic. and I would love it, and I would buy every single DVD. It'd probably be hundreds of episodes, and I don't care. I'd buy every single DVD. That would be incredible. On Blu-ray, even, because, yeah, that'd just mind-blowingly cool. You know? Just, Fist of the North Star. Love that series. The next question is, recommend 5 live-action movies. That's pretty interesting. I guess the first one I'll recommend is Samurai 7, which is my favorite movie of all time. That is a great film. Next movie I'm going to recommend is The Hidden Fortress, which is also Akira Kurosawa, and that is a really good movie. Not quite as good as Seven Samurai, but also really good. You know what? I'm just going to recommend some more Akira Kurosawa because he's so just awesome. Just go ahead and watch Yojimbo and Sanjuro as well, because those are great movies. I love the tale of Yojimbo. It's of Sanjuro. It's just too cool. And I guess the last movie I'll recommend is Indie Game the Movie. It's more of a documentary than an actual movie, but if you're into video games, it's actually really good. And if you like video games and you're and you want to know about kind of the development process and how these developers feel when they make these games, particularly these independent game makers, it's really, really interesting stuff. It's available for free on Netflix Instant. You can go ahead and check it out. It's really good, really very, very inspirational. Alright, number 8 is recommend one TV show you don't think people have heard of. That's easy. Go watch Twin Peaks. That is also available on Netflix Instant. It is a great show. The only problem with the show is that it has a terrible ending. And it's just bad, just the way that they ended it, because unfortunately what happened was that they were gonna get canceled and nobody was watching the show anymore, so they tried a last-ditch effort to get audiences hooked on the last episode, but nobody was really watching anymore, so it just kind of ended that way. And then they tried making a movie, but the movie was a prequel, so I mean it cleared up some things that we didn't already know, but it was mostly retreading ground, and it's kind of disappointing. But the show itself is really, really good, really interesting show, very well done. I'm not a huge fan of David Lynch or anything, but I really, really enjoyed this show. I haven't watched any of his other stuff, but I just thought that this was a fantastic series, and I would really like it if somebody would just slap him around a bit and be like, you gotta make a 3rd season and finish this show, or at least one more movie to just tie up all the loose ends. That'd be really nice, but I don't think that's ever happening. Still, really good show, definitely check it out. The 9th question is to talk about my YouTube channel. Okay, well, this channel specifically is the Anime Room, and I have another channel, but that's for video games. That one's Shintai Reviews. And this channel, I basically do anime reviews. I try to get other people on sometimes to do anime reviews with me, like Bob Samurai himself. And sometimes I have my friend Andrew. I want to have my friend thelavabuster for a review one of these days. And that's basically the gist of this channel. It's mainly anime reviews, because I want to get shows out there that people may or may not heard of, or maybe they have heard of it but they haven't watched it. Some shows I've reviewed are, somewhat popular, like, Cowboy Bebop. Surprisingly, there's a lot of people who have heard of Cowboy Bebop but never watched it, so I hope that, maybe watching the video will make you go, huh, that looks really good, and these guys are really digging it, so, maybe I should check it out. And the last question is, why do I make these videos? The reason I like to make these videos and why I make them is simply because I like to get my opinion out. I like talking about this sort of thing. I want other people to experience what I've experienced so they can see why I like it, and then they can get enjoyment out of it. And I really like it when people come back to me and be like, thank you for doing this review. This was awesome. I checked this out because of this review, and it was one of the best I've ever seen. Thank you so much. Comments like that warm my heart. But I also like talking to people who don't agree with me, and they're like, well, I didn't really agree with this. Well, let's talk about it. I don't mind, having a dissenting opinion and, discussing it. That's pretty cool. I like talking about that sort of thing because I like talking about my hobbies, my favorite hobbies. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and tag 2 people. I'm going to tag Path of Oblivion, also known as Sex God Reviews. And you don't have to get in your costume to do it or in character, but that would be kind of funny if you did. That would be kind of funny. And the next person is the aforementioned Lavabuster. I'd like to see what your answers to these questions would be. Get to know you a little more. That'd be kind of cool. And I'm sure other people would really get a kick out of that. Anyways, this has been Shintai, chilling in the anime room. Take it easy, everyone.